Welcome everybody. We're here for our final episode of our Getting Started with Star Wars CCG series. I'm joined once again by Andy, and it's not the same night. We've changed clothes, we've taken showers, some time has passed. So today we want to talk about virtual cards. What are they? A little bit more about that. We want to talk about maybe cubes a little bit. And then we thought it would be fun to share our sort of favorite decks and just remind people of what the meta was, Premier Death Star 2, what some deck ideas, how to sort of operate and run some of these decks. So that's sort of the plan for this final episode, which, to be honest, we sketched this out. We're like, is it 4 or 5? And we're adding 5 because I think the people want it. So give the people what they want. So let's talk about virtual cards first. So there's 18 sets of the virtual cards. So the virtual cards come out via the PC, and every 6 months they come out and they're trying to refresh the meta. And I think the PC's done a really good job of improving the virtual cards with every set. So I'll leave a link in the show notes so that you can kind of find these cards and you just literally print them off. You can put them in front of a card. It adds some depth. I haven't actually done much of this myself, I got to confess. Andy, have you done much with virtual cards?
Not really as far as like playing with them. I've obviously read through. I think, there's a little bit of an asterisk on there's only 18 sets to that. It's that the PC's really been creating virtual cards for the last 20 years, I guess, since 2002. And, they were really designed to be a way for the game to continue after Decipher lost the license and, inject new and fresh ideas into the game to, kind of keep it from stagnating at Deep Palace, basically.
And also kind of like modernizing it, right? Like there's a lot of stuff like, the introduction of tutors or like kind of pseudo fetch, like be able to fetch a card. Because I think that's like one of the great weaknesses. Like if you can't find your locations to run your objective, you're just like screwed, right? And that was the case for so much of the game.
Yeah, and so the PC actually put out 17 virtual sets between 2002 and maybe like 2009 or so. Mm-hmm. They had, the first couple of sets were just like looking back at like really bad, just awful Premier commons and trying to like make them like something that would be playable with just new text in whatever Premier through Deep Palace was. And they got a lot more complex over the years. The power level creeped massively until they did this thing called like a redo in about 2009, and they put them all into like block formats. I might have the years off by like a couple years here or there, but like they put them into block formats. So they like kind of redid a lot of the stuff from the first 17 virtual sets, and then kind of moved forward from there, releasing things in blocks, because the original Legacy V sets were released in like I think the first V set was like 12 cards or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then they were like 50 cards at a time for like the first like 7 or 8 sets. And then they kind of like did their own thing after that. So they kind of like codified all the cards, reworked a lot of the wording and stuff to template them correctly, and then kind of moved from virtual sets until power creep really came in again in about 2014, which kind of coincided as well with like Disney buying Lucasfilm. And so there was going to be like a lot of new content coming out, supposedly at, rumors of 2014 was that they put out a lot of content, which, they did. They put out a lot of content in the last, 8 years. But so they decided to do what was called a reset. And they chose basically about the best or, fan favorite, like 160-ish cards from virtual, the legacy virtual cards, plus, maybe about 20 or so brand new cards that were redone, and made that virtual set 0 and redid some of the defensive shields that they used, and really just relaunched the game in 2014. So it was basically Premier through Deep Palace plus virtual set 0. From there, now they've created an additional 18 sets of cards. I'm sure set 19 is going to come out probably this summer.
Yeah, I think so.
Um,
You know what this conversation, so I think that virtual cards for new folks can be really daunting, right? Because you're looking at 18 sets. And so what I would encourage people to do is you don't need to look at all 18. Just pick a set, right? There's like, I think 15 is like Mandalorian flavored, right? And, 18 is kind of like, they all are themed around something. Just find something that you like. Did you like Star Wars Rebels? There's an entire kind of like little virtual Star Wars Rebel set. Just build off of that because they're going to have natural synergy. Don't worry about all 900 virtual cards. I mean, in my head, I'm thinking I almost wish there was like a like PDF of the must print virtual cards, right? Like these are the ones that people need and everybody uses, and this is the 100.
Actually, a resource similar to that. It's done by Bill Caper, aka Taco Bill.
Great handle.
It's a good handle. Who's one of the big time volunteers of the PC. He's on a bunch of their committees and stuff. I know him here from a long time ago when he was probably like 13 playing in the Philadelphia area. And I don't know how recently it was updated, but he used to publish a list of like the cards you need to play. Just a list of like, these are the cards that you would need to have like a collection essentially to build any type of deck that you would want. And I don't know if he, last time I saw that it was like updated was maybe like around like virtual set 13 or 14. I don't know if he's had time to kind of redo it since then. And I don't really know if much has changed other than stuff that you would need from like, the most recent like 4 or 5 virtual sets, which, at like 30 to 50 cards, it's probably not a ton. I mean, the virtual cards are getting a lot more playable. So like everything is basically an in contention card to have in your deck, but you can find that in the PC forums.
Yeah, I'll find it and I'll put a link in the description. But that's a really good flag there, Andy. So moving along from virtual cards, let's talk about Cube. I know this is your favorite topic. I'm only going to give you 60 seconds.
Sure.
What's your pitch on the Cube?
So I think if you're looking at virtual cards, go to the PC. There's a lot of great resources. That's what pretty much everybody plays. There's alternate formats that you can play. 2 that I really would highlight. One is more for in person, just because it's hard to you can't actually do it on GIMP because of drafting. But is a Cube, which is basically a curated draft format of your own cards that you use to assemble packs of like 12 to 15 cards, whatever, and then you just draft like you would in, say, Magic. Pick a card, put it in your draft pile, pass the pack, and you assemble a deck, and you're basically playing limited. The other format that I would really highlight, which is a lot of fun to play, is called All of the Jedi, which is a GIMP-only format. And basically you sign into the league. You have to actually register for it on the PC forums. There's like a list of people.
Mm-hmm.
You just tell them like, hey, I want to play in it, and they'll add you to it, and then you can sign into the league. But basically, you get 2 of every pack. And so you get 2 Premier packs, 2 A New Hope packs, 2 Hoth packs, Dagobah, Cloud City, all the way through Theed Palace. 2 of every set release or major booster release of Star Wars CCG. You open all of them, and then you build 2 40-card decks, 1 light side, 1 dark side. And then I think like halfway through the league lasts for like a month. So like starting with like week 3 and week 4, you get either like an additional pack of every set or like an additional 2 packs of every set.
Oh, that's nice. You can kind of like refresh your decks a little bit and make some.
Yeah, you open them up, and then you get some more cards that you can then add in, and then the next month it basically resets and you start all over again.
That's a nice format.
It's a way that you can play limited. Basically, it's Cube Light is what I would like to call it. It simulates what you would get from Cube, but at a little bit lower power level. So like if you open a main character in All of the Jedi, it's pretty good. Like Darth Vader is really unbeatable in that format. So I think that those are 2 really good formats that you could probably take a look at if you want to do something that's more than just your standard 60 card deck.
Absolutely. And so this is a really good transition as well. So just a reminder as well, like, when you play this stuff, if you just want to play Premier to Death Star 2, like just no one is governing what you do at your house, right? So that's one of my favorite formats is Premier to Death Star 2. I think, that's sort of like the height of this game mentally for me. Just build decks that are fun to play. So I think that's what Andy has actually in GEMP.
I'm gonna share my screen here and I'll talk through some
Sure.
quick for a couple minutes here. Let's hope I don't
So yeah, I mean, so these are decks that you've built. There's one light side, one dark side, and this is the Premier to Death Star 2 format, right? Oh, wrong.
All right, so hopefully you can see my screen here. Yeah, okay. So this is a Premier through Death Star 2. This is I like retro formats, which are basically Decipher card only formats, and there's a lot of different ones that are popular. Premier through New Hope, Premier through Hoth, Premier through Special Edition, Premier through Death Star 2, Premier through Reflections 2, and Premier and like Decipher card only, which is all Decipher cards. They're probably the most popular with Premier through Death Star 2 and Premier through Reflections 2, probably taking the number 1 and 2 spot. So this is a Premier through Death Star 2. So it includes only cards that were released from Premier all the way through Death Star 2. So it basically simulates what Decipher had from like 1995 through the fall of 2000.
And Andy, real quick, is it possible if folks are interested, could you share this deck list? Like, can I put it in the video notes? Okay, just
send it as a text file so that someone can upload it onto.
Yeah, just in case people want ready to go deck.
This is Bring Him Before Me, which is an objective that came out in Death Star 2. It's basically a Vader-centric deck. So you want to do a lot of things with Darth Vader. Darth Vader's my favorite character, so I really enjoy playing decks that have Darth Vader or centered around Darth Vader. And this one's all about capturing Luke and turning him to the dark side. Really, I don't ever do anything with turning him to the dark side. I just battle. So it's got a lot of Darth Vaders, Emperors, Grand Moff Tarkin, Mara Jade, a couple bounty hunters, and then lots of like 1x silver bullet cards to take care of, unique things that occur within the game in this meta game. Some bounty hunters and their ships, a couple weapons, a couple locations. I played this recently in the there's a league, a retro league that's going on currently as of summer 2022. So I just recently played this to a pretty good finish. This deck did very well for me, so I was very happy with it.
I'll just throw out that I cannot stand playing against Bring It Before Me. As a light side player, it's just like such a hard deck. It's a hard matchup. It's a really powerful. It's also so thematic, right? And this is why it's I've never run it myself, but whenever I run into it, I'm just like, oh, this damn.
Sure. So I really like this deck. My personal favorite format is Premier through Hoth. Premier, New Hope, and Hoth were all kind of designed in tandem with each other in 1995 into early 1996. So they're all designed to work with each other. So there's a lot of cards that have good play and synergy with each other in that before things started getting a little bit off the rails with Dagba and Cloud City. But so my light side deck that I'm going to share here is my Premier through Hoth light side deck that I ended up winning the Premier through Hoth tournament retro league with. This one is a little bit different. You can see there's a lot of senses and altars, as that's a pretty prominent strategy within Premier of canceling cards, but it's basically what's dubbed a mains and toys deck. So it's main characters, Luke, Obi, Han, Chewie, as well as toys, which are usually lightsabers, maybe a couple ships, and then a bunch of good locations, a lot of silver bullet effects, and then I play this card, How Did We Get Into This Mess? So I can just cycle my hand through my deck constantly and pull out cards that I want to play to beat my opponent. Really enjoy this deck a lot. I never lost a game with it, so it's a pretty good deck overall for this format.
Yeah, and I do think the light side deck is going to be a little hard to captain with the senses and altar. I mean, maybe not. I mean, sense and altar is pretty intuitive, right? You just play it, and then sometimes you get into a battle over senses and altars. But I actually think that the Premier to Hoth format isn't that hard to sort of come into and play. There's some cards to sort of figure it out, but it is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm back, and yeah, I mean, I think that there's a, if you want to just take a look around on GIMP and see what people are playing, it's very convenient to play on that, and it's all rules enforced. A lot of the people that are on there are going to be playing open, which has lots of virtual cards. All virtual cards basically at this point. It feels like.
Yeah, I think
people that play, retro formats, Premier through Death Star 2, Premier through Reflections 2, etc. You can play limited, like all of the Jedi, Lightspeed Draft, which is a format that I created, which they incorporated on there. But there's people on there 24 hours a day. You're never more than a few minutes away from being able to play a game, unless you're trying to play something like really, really random, like Hoth 2-player starter deck or something. Nobody wants to play that. But shout out to my friend Yard 5, whose favorite format is the Premier 2-player starter. It's really bad.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine enjoying that. Andy, thank you for sharing those decks and sort of the showing people how GIMP is. If I had one big suggestion, the easiest way to get into this game is through GIMP, right? And I know it's like, oh, but I want the real cards. The real cards, you can get there, right? Like, I think, but if you have positive experiences, this is really just the key, like, closing thoughts on this series. This has been a ton of fun to do, but just create positive experiences with the game, right? Like, have fun playing it, and you're going to want to play more, and you will find ways of getting the cards. And I have a couple other videos on where to buy cards and things like that. So, check those out. But I think we're going to conclude our series. Don't worry, Andy's going to be on more videos. He's not going away. You're going to see lots of him. But any other kind of closing thoughts, Andy?
Yeah, I think, just to piggyback off that, GIMP is definitely the easiest and best way to get in and play. And for those of you who are like, well, I really want to do something with my real cards, nobody's stopping you from collecting or from playing with your gaming buddy or your
or just doing 40 cards or 45 cards, right? You're like, no one's going to bust in your house. You need to have 60 cards.
Hopefully, knock on wood, on my dining room table here, that COVID's kind of cresting and coming to an end, and we'll see a lot more in-person play. And there's nothing that can really replicate the feel of shuffling up an actual deck and sitting across from a real person and playing the game. So I myself am looking forward to probably later this summer or into the fall getting to a couple of like live tournament events around me, even if they're virtual card stuff. Like, I'll figure out a deck and play it. Just, it'd be great to actually play the game in person, as I've not done that in 21 years. The last time I shuffled a deck of Star Wars CCG up to play in person was Dragon Con 2001.
Well, Andy, we will have to get you down here because we have a little bit of a play circuit. We're all pretty bad. I'm mostly trying to incept my Magic friends that they never wanted to play Magic to begin with, and they've always wanted. But it's they humor me and sort of like play with me. My like closing hope, and I keep on just like saying this, and I think by speaking these words, maybe they'll come true. Like, I just want someone to come up with a Star Wars CCG Commanders format. Like just do something with a commander.
Well, you're in luck, because I have one, and we'll talk about it in a different video, maybe a future video of how to do Star Wars Commander, because I already figured all the rules out for it.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna end this video, and we're gonna go chat about this. So everybody, like, subscribe, all that crap. I hate saying it, but this has been a lot of fun, and I hope everyone's having fun as well. And we'll see you next time.
Sounds good. See you.